Good evening, folks. Thank you, Dawn Wolf, for just sharing on Twitter there. I just saw Steve Connolly has joined as well. Sonny Osman is here in the house as well. Everyone's piling on tonight. We've got a busy Monday night, haven't we? If you're listening on the audio experience, everybody, get yourself over here on a Monday night or a Wednesday night, live, 9 p.m. UK time, facebook.com/@onthisTV or twitter.com/@onthisTV. Join the family. We've got a busy one. Thank you, Wendy, for sharing on Twitter as well. You were over on Facebook a minute ago. Now you're on Twitter. You're all over the place. Appreciate you. Thanks very much. So how's your week been? I was just saying to those on the audio experience, I was just saying before I started this that I've been on jury service for the last 2 weeks here in the UK. Got away very, very lightly. Thank the Lord, because it was a really inconvenient time of my life for it to actually crop up. But it is your civic duty. I believe you should do it. I'm fully behind it. I was prepared to do my 2 weeks, but I've got off after 6 days, which is amazing. So very happy about that. I've got my life back, which is good, and now I don't have to do it again for a minimum of 2 years. Yes, which is awesome. How's your week started, guys? How are you doing? Anyone got any exciting news to report? Anything in the acting world, out of the acting world? Anyone just had any good news? Anything we can all help you with whilst we're on here just before we begin? It's a special day today in the States. It's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. An incredible man who I'm going to hold my hands up here, right? Because, and I don't know how you guys feel about this in the UK. Just back from the gym, says Wendy. First class in months. Good on you, Wendy. Well done for getting in there. Yeah, I don't know. Like in the UK, obviously Martin Luther King. You'd have to bury your head under a rock like your entire life not to hear of the man and hear of some of the incredible things that he did, but. I don't know if you were like me in terms of history. In the UK, we're taught all about Romans, and we're taught all about, a lot of UK history as well, and, Egypt and all these kind of eras gone by. And I was never taught anything about Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement in America. Nothing about the American, revolution. Nothing at all. It's almost like, it's exclusively learned in America, but outside of America, it's not kind of taught anywhere. And I was in the court this morning, and you sit in this jury assembly room before you're called, literally for hours. I've spent roughly 24 hours in there overall, over the time that I've been there. And I noticed it was Martin Luther King Day, because everyone was using the hashtag on Twitter and Facebook, MLK. And I thought, you know what? It's kind of my duty, and I think everybody's duty as a human being, to read a little bit more into this guy, what he did for equality overall, not just in the States, but you know what? Just overall, not just ethnicity, but, it kind of sparked a movement for equality that we're still on that journey today. Things are still not absolutely perfect, but I think without that man and a few other key figures in the States, we would never really have kind of embarked on that, the journey for equality and diversity that we're, that journey that we're still pursuing today. So I started to read a lot about Martin Luther King, and obviously we've all heard a few quotes. Like I say, we've all heard a few of the speeches. Some of the speeches this guy did were absolutely incredible. Very good to watch as an actor and go, how do we use and command ourselves and use body language and, the command of language to create a massive movement. He's a great performer, really, when you look at it like that and you dissect it from a performance background. But I want to look at tonight 4 lessons that we can learn from this guy as actors, and maybe those in the States, like Karen and Tony Rossi might be on here as well. Maybe you can educate us a little bit more about the impact that, Martin Luther King has had over in the States, and how you guys maybe learn about him and celebrate him today, because it's, it's a big day in the States. It's all over social media. You can't escape it. So you obviously feel it more over there than we do here in the UK. Alex Stewart is here on Facebook. Can only imagine what things will be like without that speech. Well, it's not, the I Have a Dream speech. We're obviously going to look at a little segment from that, but there's loads of other things that Martin Luther King has said, and we're going to watch a little video of him in a bit as well, in action. It's a video that's gone a bit viral on Facebook and Twitter today that you guys might have already seen, but I'm going to play it again. So let me bring us some slides. And this is 4 lessons. Amy Allen, thank you for joining us on Facebook. 4 lessons. Fanny's here as well. 4 lessons that, actors should learn from Martin Luther King Jr. If you haven't shared this, like I said at the start, give it a little share. Would massively appreciate that. That would be massively, massively welcome. Thank you for that. We can impact some people here, regardless whether they're actors or not, as always. Give it a little retweet on Twitter or share it on Facebook. And yeah, here's a little background. So today, 15th of January, for those on the audio experience who might be catching up later, 2018, is Martin Luther King Jr. Day in the States. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is a federal holiday, basically held on the 3rd Monday of January in the US. I didn't know that until today. So there's a little bit of education for you straight away. It celebrates the life and achievements of Martin Luther King Jr., the de facto spokesman of the civil rights movement, for his key role in directing America closer to its goal of equality for all. And I believe that's, had, massive, massive impacts outside of America as well. It just has. Martin Luther King Jr. made some of the greatest speeches of all time. Let's look at some of his incredible words and what we can learn from them. Let's have a look. What other comments? All these comments are flying up here, but I keep missing them, guys. If there's anything super important, keep posting it, and I will see it at some point. Apologies if I missed anything. So, lesson number 1, all right? And this, of course, is the greatest and probably most famous thing that this guy ever said. Thank you for retweeting, Alex. It's this part of the speech. He said, I have a dream. Most people only know that part, I have a dream. But what he actually followed it up with, I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the colour of their skin, but by the content of their character. Which in itself is just an absolutely, amazing aspiration. And it should be that way for a start. It shouldn't actually be any other way. You shouldn't have to fight for this. This should just be the default state. Do we not think that, that you should always take somebody for who they are, not just their outer physical appearance? It's insane that we still have to fight for that in 2018, but that's just, still the case. We really, really do. But it's not the whole of, that I want to discuss and talk about tonight. Ultimately, it is just that, the I have a dream part. Without a doubt, the quote that most people associate with Dr. King comes from his historic 1963 speech, I have a dream. And ultimately, it's just that, we all have a dream, and dreams are massively powerful, and they can serve as great motivators. Everyone on here has got a dream for their career, for themselves, for their kids, for their family. Many, many dreams. But dreams are only great motivators if they are acted on. They only become meaningful if they are acted on. And the reason I obviously called the website Acts on This is because everything that I speak about and I get guests on to speak about, I would love it if people acted on that information. And a lot of people do have dreams that they never act on. And I hit this home all the time. I mean, I say it all the time. You must be so bored of coming on these broadcasts and going, Ross, you've been banging on about the same thing for 2-3 years. But it's just because it's true. How much action are you all taking on your dreams right now? Seriously, how many hours have you put in today? Have you let fear hold you back? Have you made excuses? Have you procrastinated? Or have you honestly got have you got a dream right now? Let's just talk about that. What is your dream? Ultimately, let's just say, because you can have many. You can have many for yourself, your personal life, your professional life, all kinds of things. But in your career, what actually is your dream career-wise? To be completely honest, have you actually got one? Have you got a real goal this year for actually what you want to create, what you want to do? My kind of short-term thing right now is absolutely to do this documentary that I'm doing with the BBC. I'm going to pitch that at the end of this month with one of the editors from Horizon. He's going to come meet me in Manchester. Short-term dream, but ultimately, my kind of long-term dream career-wise, well, there's many, but I would absolutely love, always have done, to have a sitcom commissioned based on my life and time in that computer game shop in the Trafford Centre. Basically, a 11-year stint of my life that I spent there that will just make for just incredible viewing, because I came away with hundreds and hundreds of things in an exercise book, situations that I had been in that shop that no writer in the world would ever be able to write, because they go, that's way too far-fetched. It actually happened though. But that would be incredible. That's definitely a dream of mine. Getting healthy, writing an illustration of children's books, says Karen. Awesome, Karen. So let's have a look. How much action have you taken today towards that goal? Get a role on TV, however small right now, for Dawn is her dream. How much action have you actually taken today on that dream? Because Martin Luther King had a dream that I guess he did in his lifetime realize to a certain extent. But man, that guy worked obsessively for that dream and put himself in harm's way every single day, to the point where he was at book signings, the guy was stabbed. He eventually, he got through that. He was eventually taken out, but the guy was like, look, I have this dream and I'm going all in on this thing. And I'm not saying you should put your life on the line for an acting career, definitely not. But you've got to take massive, massive action if you're going to get anywhere. Alex says, speaking of taking action, I have a friend who's a singer So I thought of getting people together to showcase everyone's work. So I said we should make a music video to showcase her singing, my acting, a writer's writing, and then a director's directing. So we're in the process of putting that together. Well, that's action, Alex. That's awesome, man. Very collaborative. Sketching and creating characters. Karen said, started working on myself 6 months ago. Something about weight, somebody said there. So we've got to look at like daily actions, guys. Like there's a thing called, what was I read somewhere, it's like no 0 days or something. And it was basically saying, look, for the next 30 days, you're going to have no 0 days on that thing that you want. If you want to put that music video together, Alex, or whoever wants to write, sketches and things on here, or, get in shape physically or whatever, no 0 days. So for the next 30 days, you have no 0 days where you take action every single day, even if it's just 5 minutes. If you're absolutely exhausted and you're like, I'm working on my physicality right now, I'm having no 0 days, but I can't muster enough energy, to go and do a workout, you're at least going to do something at home. So it's no 0 days. And that's taking action on that dream. But you've got to do it consistently. It's the small, consistent actions that seem insignificant on a daily basis that really compound. The slight edge, we've read the book, The Slight Edge, that really amount to massive, massive things every single day. Welcome, Miriam325, first day on Periscope. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're going to stick around. So that's lesson 1, basically. Dreams are powerful, man. They're important. Martin Luther King had a dream and went all in on it. No one could take that away from the guy. Absolutely all in. Was prepared to die for that dream. I'm not saying die for your career. There are more important things, but, go all in. I'm using the programs through Best Year Ever Focus book. Michael Hyatt says, Karen, awesome book. Great stuff. A dream is just an idea unless it's followed through. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. We only have but our dreams. We do, but yeah, you've got to get them out your head and start making them into something. Short term for Amy is get my first TV role, ultimately star in a comedy series. Good work, Amy. I hope the broadcast I did the other night, the live broadcast with Nikki Bly, was useful to you because, she's one of the best comedy casting directors in the country. Definitely you want to take action on that. Act on your dreams, says Karen. Lesson number 2, halfway through. This is something else MLK said. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? And again, this is something that I banged on about again and again and again and again. And I'm going to give you an incredible example of what's happened like over the last couple of days in my life when it comes to this. So life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? And many people still don't fully grasp this. We did a Periscope and a Facebook Live broadcast a few weeks back on the power of reciprocity and the law of reciprocity. And what it actually means, basically, is going out there, giving to the world, to the industry, to your peers, to other actors, to directors, to producers, to family, to friends, everybody, with zero expectation of anything back in return. You're not doing things transactionally to go, I'll do this for you, but you must do this for me. I mean, sometimes you might do a trade of skills, and that's fine. But if you go out in the world and literally just go, I am going to put good out into the world, I promise you, and I've said it so many times, I'm not being airy-fairy and all mystical, but good things begin to happen to you. It's so insanely powerful, reciprocity. You effectively, without meaning to, ultimately kind of almost guilt people into doing things for you because you've just been such a great person in life. People want to hang out with you and want to be around you and want to do things with you and start projects with you, etc. And it leads to the receipt of so many things that you would never, ever expect. So I'm going to give you an example of this in a second, right? But actors very often don't do this. They develop like this us versus them mentality. Nikki Bly mentioned it the other night, Amy, on the broadcast, where it's kind of me versus them, me versus this actor, there's 6 actors up for this role, I hate the other 5, all this nonsense. And they just basically, I don't know, kind of like, just, I don't know, like section themselves off from the rest of the community, the rest of the industry, and they're like, no, this is my journey, this is my struggle, and screw everybody else. And it's just a surefire way to lose, it really, really is. So I want to ask everybody here, what have you done today to further somebody else's success? I mean, has anybody done anything today where they've gone, you know what, I've just given today with zero expectation of anything back? And it's not being altruistic and going, I'm going to go and give to a homeless person a sandwich because secretly I'll film it on my mobile and everyone will think I'm great, or any of this nonsense. It's not that. It's literally just going, I'm going to go and do the right thing today, be a force for good, help people where I can. If I see a tweet online of someone in the industry who's struggling with something technology and I know how to, do that or edit that thing, I'll send them a tweet telling them how to do it and just help them out. Anything like that. Because this is what effectively, it's the whole ethos behind what I do. And the reason that I'm doing this broadcast right now, 9 o'clock on a Monday night, 9 o'clock on a Wednesday night. Honestly, I love doing this. But some nights are coming in and I'm like, oh, I've got all this work to do, I've got that to do. Oh, but I'm like, no, the right thing to do is get on and give to other people because I don't know where this will lead to. Was in casting last week, first one on my way out, wished everyone else good luck. They all looked shocked, said Steve. Yeah, well, that's good, man. That's really, really good. Creating projects where everyone benefits, says Marco. Yeah, honestly, it's incredibly powerful reciprocity, okay? Retweeting the Periscope. Thank you, Alice. This is what I mean. So, right, I'm going to give you an example of how reciprocity really impacted my business 2 days ago. And I don't think James is on the Periscope or the Facebook Live tonight. James Bryan, right? Effectively, what I've done over the course of, the last year since he's been a member of the community, I hope everyone else feels this, is that I am genuinely a pretty decent guy. And I do want you all to win. I said this the other day on Instagram. I said it's very, very difficult to beat someone who wants you to win. And I truly believe that, if I just want everyone to win and help everybody out, I'm going to win as well. Because I think that's just the way the world works. So I've give value as much as I could to James as a member of the community, as I hope all you guys are getting value as well. He includes me on a tweet 2 days ago, along with 13 other people who have made an impact in his acting career over the last year. And it was just a Follow Friday type thing, but it was on a Saturday, I think, if I remember correctly, saying, hey guys, you should follow all of these people because they've made impact in my life. They're great people. They're kind of cool people to follow on Twitter. So I'm like, wow, that's really cool. And I notice that a great actor who I've respected for years and years, a guy called David Harewood. Anybody watch Homeland? Did you watch Homeland, the series? I thought it was incredible. Damian Lewis, David Harewood, Claire Danes. Anyone seen it? It's literally, series 1 of that is probably still to this day my favourite drama of all time. Anyone love Homeland? Fanny says, yeah, I bloody loved Homeland. So what James had done is James had included David Harewood in that tweet. And David, everyone's saying, love Homeland. David replied. David said, thank you, sir. And I've been trying to get David on Act on This for an interview because I think he's massively inspirational. The guy had, again, massive issues as a black actor when he left drama school, getting work because of prejudice and issues in society with race, to the point where he actually had a nervous breakdown and got sectioned. He spent, quite a bit of time sectioned in a mental health place, trying to get his stuff together again. And when he came out of that, he went, listen, I'm probably not going to do what I want to do in this country. I'm going to have to go to the States to have any success. And he did that, and ultimately he had massive success. I would love to sit down and interview this guy because he's done things differently. He came across huge adversity in this country and went, no, I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm not going to have any stigma attached to me. I'm not going to have any, racial blockages or, in this industry stop me from doing what I want to do. Went out to the States, had massive success. I would love to chat about all about that to the guy. So I thought, well, David's on Twitter right now because he's just replied to James. I'm going to send David a tweet. He's got 90,000 followers. There's very little chance he's going to see it, but it's worth a shot. Here's the 2 tweets that I sent. So you'll see it. I said, let me zoom in on this so I can see it. I said, huge fan of your work and ethos, David. Would love to have you on Acts on This TV for a podcast or video interview if you'd be up for it. £100 to charity too. What are the chances? Now, notice I said before, I never ask people in life a yes or no version of a question. I never ask, can you, or, would you want to? Because they can say yes or no to that. There's 4 magic words. Well, 5 actually, if you use them in most conversations. It's always, what are the chances of? Never ask anybody outright if it's a yes or no question. I've done this forever on aeroplane upgrades, hotel upgrades, I'll go into a hotel and go, oh, you know what are the chances of an upgrade? Don't say, can I have an upgrade? They'll just say no. But it's almost like you're throwing the gauntlet down a little bit. So I said, what are the chances of? Here's an example. And I tweeted a little video, 6-second video of Rob James Collier's interview with me from Downton Abbey. Less than 5 minutes later, look at the tweet on the right there. David Harewood, let's do it. Now that's a massive coup for me and for Acts on this, and no doubt going to be a fantastic interview when I sit down with this guy. That came about through the power of reciprocity. I delivered value to James Bryan over the last 12 months, expecting nothing in return whatsoever. Don't want anything back from him. Not interested in anything like that. I'm just like, I'm going to put good out into the world. James pays me back without me asking by including me in a tweet with someone I've wanted to have on an interview for 4 or 5 years. Had he not done that, I would not have then got into a conversation with David Harewood, and he would not have agreed to that interview. And that's what I'm talking about in terms of the power of reciprocity. I didn't expect that. I didn't ask for that. Life dealt me that because I hope I've just delivered value, with that zero expectation. And that's what it's about. That's so, so powerful. And it's like a really practical example of what I've been kind of preaching for the last couple of months. And I hope people now get it. But that's what that quote from Martin Luther King Jr. is all about. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? It's just massively, massively powerful. And everybody should be going out of their way every single day to do things for others, because it will bring you limitless opportunity, and just great things in life. Seriously, start trying that out if you're not doing it already, and just see what happens. And it's certainly not a short-term play. It could be like, I'm delivering value. I always think of things like, as short-term, like 10 years. Long-term for me is probably 25 years. Most people's short-term is like 3 months. And if something's not working for them within 3 months, like, nah, it's rubbish, not going to do it anymore. Keep doing it. Alison Saxton, good evening. Thank you for joining us on Facebook. So that's lesson number 2. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? And there's those tweets once again. So that's a great interview that's going to be coming to us on this pretty soon with David Harewood. He's in the States at the moment. Don't know when he's going to be over in the UK, but I would love to sit down with him and do an actual face-to-face interview rather than something online. I think that would be pretty special. Lesson number 3, guys. Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. And for those Bulletproof Actors on here, this is something we talk about at length in the Bulletproof Actor program that I run once a year. If you want to get involved with that this time in February, bulletproofactor.com. It's the only time I'm going to launch that program this year. It's a 5-week in-depth positive psychology program to install an unstoppable confidence in yourself as a person and an actor. And we talk about the staircase quite a lot, effectively. And I see this all the time. Actors that are so afraid, and it's just people, not just actors, so afraid of taking their first step into the unknown because they can't see the whole staircase. And they're like, if I can't see the next 10, 15 steps in this equation, I'm not going to take the first one because I don't know where I'm going to. Recently joined Fitbit and I was looking for support, found myself in demand to help, giving help to others, says Karen. There you go. Reciprocity. So a lot of people don't start effectively because they're like, if I can't see the whole thing, I'm not going to take any steps at all. And you only ever need to see the next step. And Karen is literally taking steps daily on a Fitbit. You only need to see the next step in pursuing your dreams. Once you step onto that step, okay, the next will illuminate. It's like going on a pitch black staircase and standing on the bottom step. And you go, I'm still on this, and it's lit up, and I can see just enough to see the next step. And when I stand on that, I'm going to light up the next step, and I'll see just enough so I can stand on it. And then eventually you're going to go up and up and up until you reach the top. But if you allow fear, someone just said that they're doing this with acting classes now, they don't know where they're going, and that's great. If you allow fear to paralyze you, you'd never go to that first acting class and take that first step. And you'll end up staying literally at the bottom of the staircase your entire life, metaphorically. You'll never do anything great or be great if you're like, look, I'm not prepared to walk into the unknown effectively, into that darkness and go, I'm just going to deal with whatever happens. And if I can trust myself enough, Susan Jeffers, the whole field of fear and do it anyway, kind of principle is, look, if I can trust myself enough to deal with whatever happens in life, because I'll just get through it because I have to, I've got no alternative. Ultimately, you don't have anything to fear. You don't have to go into any situation where you've got to control it because you're quite open to anything happening. You're like, it's fine. You know what? I'll go to this acting class. And if they pick me up and put me on the spot and make me do an improvisation on day one, I'll deal with it. Yes, it'll be scary. Yes, I'll be afraid. Yes, I'll be self-conscious. Yes, I might not do what I think is a great performance, but you know what? 5 minutes later, I've done it. I felt the fear. I've done it anyway, and it's over. And now I'm on the second step. So when I go back next week, I'm going to be more prepared. I've done it once. I'm going to be better next time. That's what life's about. So fair play for, taking that step and going to that first class. But that's the quote there from MLK. Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. So I think that's another great lesson from the man. Lesson number 4. Fantastic. Love this one again. I just love all of his stuff, really, to be honest. You should go and read more about MLK. We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. Okay? And I mean, look, let's just be totally honest, right? You're going to experience disappointment, aren't you, when you're in the acting industry? If you're an actor in the acting industry, one of the most, at times frustrating, demoralizing, rejection-filled industries on the planet. Let's not sugarcoat it. Sometimes it can be pants, can't it? It can be rubbish. It can be, not a bag of fun, all right? It's binary, right? You're going to face disappointment, like absolutely guaranteed, 100%. I have felt it multiple times. I lost out on a role 2 years ago that would have changed my entire life. Probably, I reckon, could have led to a BAFTA nomination. The show ended up getting nominated for the best drama and won it. The actress I was acting opposite got nominated for the best actress. There's such a good chance because it was so close to my heart. It was based on a true story that's basically very, very entwined with my life. I spent 8 weeks auditioning for that. Got down to the last couple. They couldn't give me the role for reasons completely out of my control. Disappointing. Really disappointing. But I'm like, you know what? It's inevitable. At times I'm going to lose. And as long as I'm learning something, actually, you know what? I'm always winning. So at times you're going to lose. But one thing you mustn't lose ever, Saffron, good evening, is hope. All right? And that's what Martin Luther King is saying in that quote there. And I would add 2 other ingredients to that. And they are positivity and optimism. Negativity in this world is so loud right now. We all owe it ourselves, each other, the community, our friends, our family, to make positivity louder. We just do. You don't need to make negativity louder because everyone else is already doing that for you. In the same way, great quote today that I read, don't focus on your weaknesses. Everyone else is already doing that for you. Let's not focus on that. Let's focus on hope, positivity, and optimism. And I'll always remember when I did an interview with Dan Ryan, the actor, I've said this many, many times. He says, listen, Sunday night for me is the most exciting time of the week because I don't know what's going to happen the next week. It's only Monday today. You don't know what's going to happen the next 4 days. You might be like, you know what? Not had an audition in 6 months. I feel rusty, down and out. Not had an opportunity. I'm seeing my friends flying. They've just got a part in this. They've just got a part in that. I don't audition in 6 months. That could all change tomorrow. If you keep that hope, that positivity, and that optimism alive, literally your life could change tomorrow. Your agent could call you. If you've not got an agent, you could get an agent tomorrow. You could go to that acting class that you've just started and a casting director could come and sit in on it. And that could change your life. It could lead to an audition. You've got to have that hope, all right? And sometimes those things there, hope, positivity, and optimism, will be like the only thing. Brian, good evening. The only things that you do have. But they are literally 3 of the most powerful tools at your disposal, full stop. And if you can focus on hope, positivity, and optimism, as opposed to desperation, negativity, and pessimism, you're going to do all right. And your state of being is going to feel pretty healthy. You're going to take more action because you're going to feel better. And you're going to be able to serve others better. The 3 things that we've spoken about tonight already. Hi, Brian. How you doing, mate? Hope you're good. So that's lesson 4. So just to recap, let's go back through these quotes. Then we're going to look at a little speech of Martin Luther King's that you might have seen today if you've been on social media because it's been spread around. But I'm going to play it for you guys anyway in case you haven't. So first of all, have a dream. That I have a dream speech. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the colour of their skin, but by the content of their character. Such a powerful lesson in itself. But what I want to concentrate on there is that he had a dream, right? You've all got dreams. How much action are you taking on those dreams, though? 2, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? That whole principle of reciprocity we looked at tonight and how that led me 2 days ago to get an interview with someone I've watched get an interview for years, and I didn't make that happen. I sent 1 tweet. I was brought into that conversation through the power of reciprocity. If you're just joining now, go back and listen to the replay. You'll hear all about that, how I ended up with a tweet off David Harewood. Like, a bit of a hero of mine, really. in the acting world who is now going to take part in an interview with him. 3, faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. Just massively, massively important that you just step out into that darkness and be okay. Come to terms with the fact that it's all right if you can't see. I literally am night blind as well, so if I go on a dark staircase, can't see anything anyway. And then number 4, we must accept finite disappointment. Okay, it's finite, all right? But never lose infinite or infinite hope, okay? You've got to have hope, that positivity and that optimism. So let's watch a clip of the man, MLK, hashtag MLK has been trending all day today, in action. This is a video I need to credit Goldcast with. It's a speech that's well out there in the public domain, so it's not like their copyright, but I hope the feed will not be cut for copyright reasons. I play this. Hopefully you guys will be able to hear this okay as well. It's from obviously a very old clip, so it's not like HD. But this is about success and ultimately having a blueprint in your life for success is something that MLK said that's pretty powerful. So let's have a listen to this, and I'll be back in like 2.5 minutes.
This is the most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go. And the question is whether you have a proper, a solid, and a sound blueprint. And I want to suggest some of the things that should be in your life's blueprint. Number 1 in your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your own worth, and your own somebodyness. Don't allow anybody to make you feel that you are nobody. Always feel that you count. Always feel that you have worth. And always feel that your life has ultimate significance. Secondly, in your life's blueprint, you must have, as a basic principle, the determination to achieve excellence in your various fields of endeavor. You're going to be deciding as the days and the years unfold what you will do in life, what your life's work will be. Once you discover what it will be, set out to do it, and to do it well. Be a bush if you can't be a tree. If you can't be a highway, just be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be a star. For it isn't by size that you win or you fail. Be the best of whatever you are. And finally, in your life's blueprint must be a commitment to the eternal principles of beauty, love, and justice. Well, life for none of us has been a crystal staff, but we must keep moving. We must keep going. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl, but by all means, keep moving.
Keep moving forward, says MLK. 4 massively powerful lessons as a blueprint in life. Yeah, he said there. I wrote some little notes as I was watching that myself there. Number 1, have a deep belief in your own. I love it. He said, I've never even heard that word before. In your own somebodyness. You know, have a deep belief in your own somebody. Don't let anybody tell you that you are not somebody, you know, that you are a nobody. Massively powerful. Again, in the acting industry, that can kind of happen if people that will never happen from other people, actually, in my experience. External people will never say you're nobody. A lot of actors tell it themselves. That's kind of the ironic thing. They're like, oh, well, who am I to have that success? Who am I to be nominated for an award? You know, who am I to land that role? It's not other people that tell them they can't do it. It's generally themselves. Number 2, a determination to achieve excellence, a determination to achieve excellence. Again, got to be determined. Number 3 was to just be the best, basically the best version of yourself, regardless of what you are. So it's not the size, you know, of you. It's I guess it's what you do with the skills you have, and and being the best version you can possibly be. I love that, says Alex. You must keep going. Well, there you go. That's number 4. Keep moving forward. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But you must keep moving forward. So that's 4 lessons from our man MLK, and I want to end with just this final quote, and I kind of touched on it a little bit before, but again, this is a really powerful quote, and it's this: if a man has not discovered something that he will die for, he isn't fit to live. And I'm not saying anyone should die for their acting career. I'm definitely not. You know, I'll put it out there now. I'm not prepared to die for it. You know, I've got a lot of living to do. If someone said, "Okay, you can have this role and win an Oscar, but you're going to die after it," I go, "No, it's all right. You can keep that role and that Oscar. That's absolutely fine. I'll live for the next 65 years of my life." But yeah, have a think about just for yourself, because this will be different for everybody. Or have you discovered that thing? I think everybody, you know, someone said, what would you die for? I would definitely say my family. 100%, of course I would. But there's more, you know, there's deep-seated principles as well in society that I'm like, you know what? I would definitely die for that if it came to it. And that really is like, you know, well, ultimately freedom, innit? That's like the biggest things. And you look at nations that don't have that and you're like, wow, something to be such massively, massively grateful for, that we can even choose to be actors, you know, because you don't have to, remember, no one on here has to be an actor. You all get to be actors, you know, no one on here has to go to the gym. You know, if people are moaning about it, you get to go to the gym. You don't have to go to the supermarket and do your shopping if you hate it. You get to. What an incredible privilege it is to do all those things that we often take so much for granted. So it's interesting, isn't it? If a man has not discovered something that he will die for, he isn't fit to live. And that's something that I'm pondering on, because, like, I don't know exactly what those things are, to be honest. That's a massive, massive question, isn't it? Brian says inspiring goes right to your soul. It's huge, isn't it, though? It's a huge statement, that. If a man has not discovered something that he will die for, he isn't fit to live. So get out there, find something you are prepared to die for, or ponder on that. You might already have found it already, or there might be a few things. I thought it was quite an interesting statement. And ultimately, you know, the sad thing is Martin Luther King Jr. did die for what he believed in I think it was April 1968. He was shot by a sniper on his Memphis hotel room balcony. Some very racist, nasty, nasty man did eventually take him down, a guy called James Earl Ray. So he did find that thing that he was prepared to die for, and ultimately he did pay the ultimate price. So the guy's like, you know, a man of his word, isn't he? He wasn't messing around when he said that. Hugely, hugely powerful. So thank you for being here. I'm going to be back on Wednesday night, guys, for the book club. 9 p.m. UK time, same place, same time, facebook.com/groups/ Acts on This TV. Thank you for talking about MLK, says Karen. Honestly, it's my pleasure. Like I say, in the UK, we're genuinely not taught this stuff, Karen. Like, honestly, I mean, maybe it was because history wasn't my thing, to be honest. History was definitely not my thing at all. I was more geography. I like geography over history in the UK. I didn't like the history teacher. He actually was slightly physically abusive to me once, and he slammed me against some lockers. He made me head boy in sixth form. I think he made up for it. But yeah, he definitely dished out discipline with his fists at times. I was all right. It's fine. It was all okay. But yeah, that's why I didn't really take history. And thus I probably missed out on a lot of this. Maybe they did teach some of this stuff. But in the UK, yeah, it's passed me by. And I just thought, you know, it's probably actually a bit of a duty of ours on a day like this to actually do a bit of research into Martin Luther King and you know, take some inspiration from that. Only in college I really learned, says Karen. I only liked English because we got to do plays, says Wendy. That was it. It's crazy actually when you think back to school. I definitely took, because I knew I wanted to be an actor, I definitely just took the subjects that were the most fun and the teachers were like the best, without a doubt. Alex says, what was the thing you were saying that someone did on Twitter about tagging 5 people? Oh, so Alex, so what it was, mate, I was talking about reciprocity. I'll just go over this very, very quickly again. And I've talked about this for quite a while, where I'm like, it's really powerful reciprocity. And that's where you do things for other people with zero expectation of getting anything back in return. And it's led to some very magical moments in my life where I've received things without ever asking for them, and things that I would never have actually asked for. And they've come into my life completely by chance because I've just actually done things for other people. And one of those things this week was, obviously I put out these broadcasts all the time, and I do, I do a lot of stuff genuinely for the good of the people. I'm not Mother Teresa or altruistic and going, I'm so amazing. I get a lot of satisfaction doing this, coming on these broadcasts and actually giving, You know, in a way, he's kind of selfish because, like, I get a lot back from it, genuinely. And a guy, James Bryan, just put me in a tweet this week with 13 other people. One of them was David Harewood, an incredible actor. If you don't know him, you will have seen him in Homeland if you've watched Homeland. He's just starring in some big DC stuff at the moment in the States. Go Google him. And he was included in the tweet. He replied to James. I jumped into that conversation, was like, David, I would love to interview you. I've got an interview with him. That would never have happened had I not been giving value to James. He would never have put me in that tweet that said, follow these people, they're great. So that's just how reciprocity works. You know, it's a very practical form of karma. Karma isn't a mystical, magical force. It really isn't. I don't think, anyway. I think it's very practical. It's like the whole do as you know, treat others ultimately how you would like to be treated back. It just works. What goes around comes around. Put good stuff out there. Good things happen to good people. So that's what we're talking about there. Could be back on Wednesday. Karen, you're asking what the book was. It's a book called How to Be a Happy Actor in a Challenging Business. And we're going to be looking at it for the third week. It sounds quite twee and a bit tame, the title of that. But it's not at all. It's a really, really powerful, good book. It's written super simply as well. Just Google it, How to Be a Happy Actor in a Challenging Business. It's going to be back at 9 p.m. on Wednesday night to have a little look at that and carry on the conversation. So thank you to everybody. What great podcast tonight. Thank you, Ross, says Dawn. Awesome, Dawn. Thank you for being here. Appreciate your time. Thanks to everybody on Twitter. Really appreciate your time being here. Spread the message if you can, guys, because this is going to stay online as a replay on Twitter. If you're on Twitter right now and you've not retweeted it, give it a retweet before we go. Share it out on your timeline, potentially on Facebook. It would help anybody, not if you're just an actor. Just there's some super inspiring stuff Martin Luther King said, and we should all learn from that and get out there ultimately and go after our dreams. He had a dream. I've got a dream. You've got a dream. Let's make them a reality. So thank you so much for being here. What I will do, I'm gonna leave you guys on Facebook. I'm sorry I can't see any more comments, just so I can end this elegantly without faffing around. I always have to do this at the end, don't I? Pull up Facebook here. That's just got 10 seconds before it's doing that. Anyone else got anything exciting they want to just share? Shared on both, says Karen. Thank you. Inspiring broadcast tonight, says Steve. Cheers, Steve. Thanks for being here, mate. Do very much appreciate that. Let me get into my video library. That's now going to be good to end there. Get yourselves those at adsonthis.tv as well. I've got lots of new content that's gone up on there, and obviously got loads of new stuff coming. Great interviews with some great actors now. David's going to be one of them. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Get yourself in the Facebook group if you need any help. Hit me up at ActOnThisTV, at Ross A. Grant, and I'll see you Wednesday night. Thank you for retweeting Brian. I'll see you then. Bye for now.